For 2 years, I was the go-to babysitter for my sister-in-law, Lauren. Not by choice. Really, it just sort of happened. At first, I didn't mind. Her kids, Emma and Oliver, were sweet. Emma was the chatty one, always showing me her little drawings, while Oliver was still a toddler, constantly clinging to my leg like I was his favorite person in the world. And Lauren? She barely acknowledged how much I helped her. It started small. Hey, could you watch the kids for an hour? That turned into 3. You don't mind picking them up, right? Even when I had plans. Soon, I wasn't just helping out. I was expected to be available whenever she needed me. No please. No thank you. Just assumption. And then, everything changed. A few months ago, I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. At first, I thought I could push through it. Keep up with my normal life, pretend I wasn't constantly exhausted, ignore the way my body felt like it was betraying me. But the truth hit hard some days. I could barely function. It wasn't just tiredness. It was like my body was weighed down, every limb heavy, my mind foggy. Simple things, like making coffee or walking up the stairs, felt impossible. My doctor didn't sugarcoat it. If you don't start managing your stress and energy levels, this will only get worse. I knew what that meant. I had to stop babysitting. I agonized over how to tell Lauren. Part of me thought she'd understand, that she'd at least pretend to care. But the moment I told her, she scoffed. Scoffed. What do you even do all day? She snapped. I blinked. I had just told her. Lauren, I'm sick. I can't physically handle watching the kids anymore. She rolled her eyes, muttering something under her breath. Then, louder, it's not like watching them is hard. You're just sitting around anyway, right? That hit me like a slap. I wasn't sitting around. I was struggling, trying to navigate a life where my own body was working against me. But she didn't care. The following weeks were a nightmare. She kept texting. Every few days, a new message. When can you start babysitting again? The kids miss you. I really need help. You don't even have a real job. Why are you acting like this is so hard? I ignored her. But the guilt crept in anyway. I kept thinking about Emma and Oliver. How they'd run up to me every time I walked through the door. How Oliver would grab my hand with his tiny fingers, pulling me toward his toys. Maybe I was being selfish. Maybe I could just push through and help, even if it was just for an hour or two. But then I remembered the worst day. A few weeks after my diagnosis, I had tried to do something simple, just make a cup of tea. But as I stood up, my legs gave out from under me. I collapsed onto the kitchen floor, my vision swimming, my heart pounding. I sat there for a long time, staring at the ceiling, trying to breathe. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't something I could ignore. I had to choose my health. Lauren didn't care. She sulked. Then she got angry. Then came the family dinner. Ethan, my husband, thought it would be fine, that Lauren wouldn't bring it up. She won't make a scene in front of everyone, he said. He was wrong. The moment we walked in, she was waiting. Her smile fake, calculated. Dinner started off normal. Small talk, laughter. For a second, I let myself hope that maybe, just maybe, she had moved on. Then, Lauren leaned back in her chair, smirking. So, Ariana, she said loudly, still too sick to help out with my kids? Or was that just an excuse? The room went dead silent. I felt my face heat up, my stomach twisting. I hadn't told most of my family about my condition yet. I wasn't ready for the questions, the pity. Lauren had just forced me into it. I swallowed hard. Keep calm. Don't make a scene. I've already explained this to you, Lauren, I said, my voice steady. It's not an excuse. She scoffed, rolling her eyes. Maybe babysitting would do you some good. Get you off your pity train. She laughed, like she had just told the funniest joke in the world. The rest of the family shifted awkwardly. My mother-in-law pressed her lips together, avoiding eye contact. No one wanted to say anything. I clenched my fists under the table. I was about to snap, but Ethan beat me to it. That's enough, Lauren. His voice was sharp, unapologetic. Lauren blinked, caught off guard. Oh, come on, No, Ethan cut her off. You don't get to talk to Ari like that. She bristled. I just don't get it, she muttered. It's not like I'm asking you to do real work. It's just watching kids for a few hours. You act like it's some huge deal. I inhaled slowly. I've told you why I can't do this right now. If you don't understand that, then maybe we just don't need to talk about it anymore. Lauren stared at me. There was something dark in her expression, something unreadable. Then, she just shrugged and turned back to her plate. The rest of the night was uncomfortable as hell. She kept her distance, but the damage was done. I felt like I couldn't breathe, like I had just been dragged through the mud in front of everyone. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table, whispering, "You handled that perfectly." I wanted to believe that. But I knew this wasn't over. And I was right. Because just a few days later, there was a knock on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, my stomach dropped. A police officer stood on my doorstep. "Mrs. Walker?" he asked, flipping open a notepad. "Yes." My voice came out shaky. He gave me a serious look. "We received a report of theft. Your sister-in-law, Lauren Parker, is accusing you of stealing from her." The words didn't make sense at first. I stood there, frozen, as they slowly sank in. Lauren had just taken this to a whole new level. I stood in my doorway, my pulse hammering in my ears. "A theft report?" My voice came out hoarse, like my throat had closed up. "Against me?" The officer nodded, flipping through his notepad. "Lauren Parker claims that during a recent family dinner, you stole a large sum of cash from her purse." I actually laughed. A sharp, disbelieving sound that felt ripped out of me. "That's insane. I never even touched her purse." The officer's face remained neutral, unreadable. "Do you have any proof of that?" My stomach twisted. "Proof? How the hell do you prove that you didn't steal something?" I struggled for words. I was with my husband the entire night. I barely even spoke to her after she humiliated me at dinner. "Your husband can confirm that?" "Yes. Absolutely." My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone and called Ethan. He picked up almost immediately. "Hey, babe, what's up?" "Ethan, Lauren filed a police report against me." A pause. Then, "She what?" The sheer rage in his voice sent a wave of relief through me. I put him on speaker. "Officer," Ethan said, his voice firm, "I was with my wife the entire night. She never left my side. She never went anywhere near Lauren's things." The officer took a few more notes but still looked skeptical. And that's when it hit me. The security cameras. I all but lunged for the app on my phone, my hands fumbling in my rush. "We have a security camera on our front porch," I blurted. "It records everything. It'll show exactly when I got home after the dinner. There's no way I had time to steal anything." The officer nodded, leaning in as I pulled up the footage. My heart pounded as I played it back. There I was, walking up to the door with Ethan, unlocking it, stepping inside. The timestamp was immediate. The officer watched in silence, then let out a slow breath. "Well, this certainly contradicts her claim." I exhaled so hard my chest ached. "So that's it?" I asked hesitantly. "Not quite," he said, slipping his notepad back into his pocket. "We still have to follow up with her. But this doesn't look good for her." He gave me a sympathetic look before leaving. I stood there for a moment, staring at the closed door, trying to breathe. Ethan's voice was tight with anger. "I swear to God, Ari, if she gets away with this." "She won't." My voice was steadier now, even though my hands were still shaking. "She just made the biggest mistake of her life." The next 2 days crawled by. I barely slept, my stomach in knots, waiting for the next disaster Lauren would throw at me. Then, the call came. "Mrs. Walker? We've concluded our investigation." I sat up so fast I almost dropped my phone. "And there's no evidence that you committed any theft. Given the inconsistencies in her statement, and the proof you provided, we'll be warning Mrs. Parker about filing false reports." I let out a sharp breath. "That's it. Just a warning." "For now," the officer said. "But if she does this again, there could be legal consequences." I hung up, my hands clenched into fists. Lauren had just tried to destroy me, and she was getting off with a slap on the wrist? I couldn't let it go. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to her house. The rage simmering under my skin kept me steady as I knocked on the door. Lauren opened it immediately, like she had been waiting. Her expression? Smug. "Took you long enough," she said, leaning against the doorframe like this was all some joke to her. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Lauren shrugged. "You think you can just walk away from your responsibilities? Maybe this will teach you not to screw me over." I stared at her, my hands curling into fists at my sides. She didn't even deny it. "I was sick, Lauren. I still am. I wasn't screwing you over. I was taking care of myself. And you," I shook my head, my voice shaking with fury. "You went to the police and lied. You tried to ruin my life." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. They didn't even arrest you. What are you so worked up about?" I laughed. A hollow, humorless laugh. "You don't get it, do you? You could have destroyed my reputation. What if they had believed you? What if this went on my record?" She shrugged. "Not my problem." That was it. That was all I needed to hear. I took a slow breath, stepping back. "You know what? You're right. It's not your problem. And from now on, I'm not your problem either. Her smirk faltered. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm done. With you, with your kids, with your manipulations. Don't text me. Don't call me. Don't expect me to ever lift a damn finger for you again. Lauren's face twisted in anger. Oh, grow up, Ariana. This is family. You don't just cut off family. I met her gaze, steady and unflinching. Watch me. I turned and walked away, ignoring the way she yelled after me, her voice dripping with fake outrage. I had given her so much. My time, my energy, my love for her kids. And in return, she had stabbed me in the back, over something as simple as saying no. Well, she didn't have access to me anymore. I wasn't going to be her doormat ever again. The silence after I walked away should have felt satisfying, like a victory. But it didn't. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel, my heart still hammering in my chest. My hands trembled from the confrontation, from the sheer audacity of what Lauren had done. I had spent 2 years being her free babysitter, dropping everything to help her. And the second I set a boundary, she had tried to destroy me. I should have known she wouldn't take no for an answer. Ethan was waiting for me when I got home, his expression tight with worry. How bad was it? He asked the moment I walked through the door. I tossed my keys onto the counter and let out a shaky breath. She doesn't care, Ethan, I said, my voice hoarse. She literally laughed about it, like it was a game. Ethan's jaw clenched. Jesus Christ. I told her I was done, that she was cut off. No more favors. No more contact. He nodded, but his eyes scanned my face carefully. And how do you feel? I swallowed hard, like I lost something. Not her. I don't give a damn about her. But Emma and Oliver. I trailed off, my throat tightening. Ethan sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. I know, but you can't keep sacrificing yourself just to stay in their lives. Not when their mother is willing to tear you down like this. I knew he was right, but it still hurt. The next few days were quiet. Lauren didn't text, didn't call, didn't even try to stir up drama through the family group chat. It should have been a relief. Instead, it felt like the calm before the storm. Then, a week later, my phone rang. I almost didn't answer when I saw the name on the screen. Todd, Lauren's husband. I hesitated, then picked up. Todd. His voice was tense. Hey, Ariana. I need to talk to you. I sat up straighter. What's going on? A pause. Then, I left her. My breath caught in my throat. What? I packed my stuff and moved out this morning, he said, his voice strangely hollow. I can't do it anymore. I blinked, struggling to process what I was hearing. Todd and Lauren had been together for years. He had always been the quiet one, the patient one, the one who let things slide to keep the peace. I never thought he'd actually leave her. Todd, what happened? A heavy sigh. She's been getting worse. After what she did to you, I started seeing things differently. I always knew she was selfish, but this. He let out a bitter laugh. She tried to ruin your life, Ariana. And she didn't even care. That's when I realized, if she's willing to do that to you, someone who's helped her so much, what else is she capable of? I was silent, letting his words sink in. So, you confronted her? I asked. Yeah, he said grimly. And she lost it. Accused me of taking your side, of betraying her. But how the hell was I supposed to support her after what she did? I closed my eyes. And the kids? A pause. They're with her for now. But if she keeps going down this path, I don't know. I might have to fight for custody. My chest tightened. Todd, I'm so sorry. I should have left sooner, he admitted. But I kept telling myself she'd change. That this was just stress or frustration or something temporary. But this is who she is. And I can't live like this anymore. I took a shaky breath. So what now? Now, he repeated, sounding exhausted. Now I start over. And I protect my kids from turning into her. We hung up shortly after. I sat in stunned silence for a long time, replaying the conversation in my head. Lauren was finally facing consequences. Her husband had left. Her lies had caught up to her. And yet, knowing her, I doubted she would take responsibility. I was right, because 3 days later, I got another phone call. Not from Lauren, not from Todd, from the school where she worked. And suddenly, I realized, Lauren's world was about to fall apart even more. When my phone rang, and I saw the name of Lauren's workplace on the screen, my stomach twisted. I hesitated. What the hell could this be about? I answered cautiously. Hello. A woman's voice, polite but firm, came through the line. Hi. Is this Ariana Walker? Yes, that's me. I'm calling regarding an issue involving one of our employees, Lauren Parker. We were hoping you could clarify a few things for us. I sat up straighter, my grip tightening on the phone. Oh, this was going to be interesting. Sure. What's this about? The woman cleared her throat. It has recently come to our attention that Lauren filed a police report against you. Given the nature of this situation, we need to determine whether it affects her standing within our institution. I blinked. Holy shit. How did you find out about that? I asked carefully. It was brought to our attention anonymously, she said. Anonymously? I immediately thought of Todd. It had to be him. Maybe, as part of their separation, he wanted the school to know exactly who they had working for them. Or maybe someone else, one of my in-laws, or even someone at the police station, had tipped them off. Either way, Lauren's recklessness had finally caught up to her. We're not asking for confidential details, the woman continued. We just need to confirm, was the report she filed against you false? I didn't even hesitate. Yes, it was completely false. The police cleared me immediately, and she was warned about making false accusations. There was a pause on the other end. Then, a quiet exhale. That's what we were afraid of. The woman murmured, almost to herself. I sat up straighter. What does this mean for her? I can't disclose that at this time, she said carefully. But I appreciate your honesty. Thank you for your time, Mrs. Walker. We hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone. Lauren's job was on the line. For years, she had walked around acting like she was untouchable, like she could do and say whatever she wanted without consequences. But now, the cracks were finally showing. And, for once, I wasn't the one picking up the pieces for her. The next day, the inevitable happened. Lauren called me. I let it ring. Then she called again. And again. By the fourth call, I sighed and answered, bracing myself. What do you want? I said flatly. Her voice was sharp, frantic. You absolute bitch. I almost laughed. Charming as always, Lauren. What's wrong? You know damn well what's wrong, she snapped. My school put me on leave. Indefinitely. Because of you. I leaned back against the couch, letting her words sink in. So, they actually did something about it. Because of me? I repeated. Or because you lied to the police and tried to ruin my life? If you had just kept your mouth shut. I laughed. A genuine, almost delighted laugh. Wow. You really think I'm the bad guy here, don't you? You ruined everything, she shrieked. My job, my family. Todd left me because of you. That stopped me cold. Todd left you because of you, Lauren. I said, my voice calm but firm. Because you showed him exactly the kind of person you are. Silence. But not the guilty kind. Lauren wasn't capable of guilt. She was calculating. I lost my job, she said, her tone shifting. Softer now. More pitiful. Todd's gone. I have 2 kids to take care of. I have nothing. There it was. The manipulation. I stayed silent, letting her squirm. Ariana, she tried again, her voice a little desperate now. You can fix this. Call the school. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. Tell them I was just stressed. I shook my head. She really thought I was that stupid. No, I said simply. The line went quiet for a beat. Then, Lauren snapped. You selfish, heartless bitch, she screamed. You don't even care about my kids, do you? I clenched my jaw. Oh, hell no. Don't you dare bring them into this, I hissed. You did this. You destroyed your own life. You made the choice to lie, to manipulate, to throw me under the bus because I set a single boundary. And now that you're finally facing the consequences, you want me to fix it for you. She was breathing heavily on the other end, like she was trying to find something, anything, to throw back at me. I let out a slow breath. I'm done, Lauren. You think you're better than me, she spat. No, I said, dead calm. But I'm definitely smarter than you. Because unlike you, I know when to stop before I destroy everything around me. A sharp inhale. Then, she hung up. I stared at my phone for a moment before setting it down. Ethan, who had been listening from the hallway, walked over and sat beside me. She'll never change, he murmured. I know. He took my hand in his, squeezing gently. You did the right thing. I nodded. But as much as I wanted to feel like this was over, something told me Lauren wasn't done yet. Days passed. Then a week. Then 2. Lauren had gone silent. No calls. No texts. No snide remarks in the family group chat. It should have felt like peace. Like I had finally cut her out of my life for good. But instead, it felt like I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Ethan kept telling me to let it go, that Lauren had finally realized she lost. But Lauren wasn't the kind of person who just accepted defeat. She was waiting, plotting, and I was right. One evening, as Ethan and I were finishing dinner, my phone rang. I frowned when I saw the number. It wasn't saved, but it looked familiar. I hesitated before answering. Hello? A pause. Then, a voice I hadn't expected. Ariana. It's Todd. I sat up straighter, my stomach twisting. Todd? What's going on? Is everything okay? Another pause. A deep breath. She's in trouble, he said finally. A cold weight settled in my stomach. What kind of trouble? Legal. My fingers curled against my knee. Legal? Todd exhaled sharply. Lauren's being investigated for filing a false police report. Someone at the precinct decided to push for actual charges. I went still. For the first time in forever, Lauren wasn't just getting a slap on the wrist. She was actually facing real consequences. What does this mean? I asked slowly. It means she's panicking, Todd said grimly. And she's desperate. I already knew what was coming before he even said it. She wants your help, he continued. She's saying if you don't help her, she could lose everything. That it's your fault, that you should fix this. No. Todd fell silent. I'm not helping her, Todd, I said firmly. Not after everything she did to me. She made her bed. Now she can lie in it. He let out a slow sigh. I figured you'd say that. And honestly, I don't blame you. For the first time since this nightmare started, Todd sounded tired, defeated, like he had finally, truly, given up on Lauren. She's still blaming you. You know, he added after a moment. Still telling everyone that if you had just done the right thing, none of this would have happened. I scoffed. Of course she is. Because Lauren would never take responsibility. She would always find a way to shift the blame onto someone else. To make herself the victim. But this time, no one was buying it. Her boss wasn't buying it. The police weren't buying it. Even Todd, the man who had spent years enabling her, was finally done. I just thought you should know, Todd said finally. I don't expect you to help her. Hell, I don't think she even deserves help at this point. I just figured you'd want to hear it from me before she tries some other stunt. I appreciated that. Thanks, Todd. Yeah. A pause. Then, softer. I'm sorry, Ariana. For everything. For not seeing it sooner. I closed my eyes. It's not your fault, I murmured. We hung up. Ethan, who had been sitting across from me, raised an eyebrow. Well, she's being investigated, I said. For filing that false report against me. Ethan blinked. Then, slowly, he grinned. You're kidding. Nope. Holy shit. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. It's over, Ethan. He reached across the table, taking my hand in his. Yeah, it is. And for the first time in months, I actually believed it.